Nigel Farage speaking in south-east London, saying that maybe he was right after all to change his mind. He is going to be standing at the general election as a candidate for Reform down in Clacton. He is going to assume the title too, as you heard, as the leader of Reform UK. You've probably heard a good deal of what he's trying to present to you before, actually, because as the leader of UKIP and then as the leader of the Brexit Party, the lines about it being a massive betrayal of 17.4 million people have been trotted out time and again, that the rejection of the political class is going to be something that appeals to lots of people who are fed up of what they've seen of British politics over the course of the last, 10 years, 8 years certainly. Nigel Farage is coming back into the debate. There isn't a debate that Nigel Farage doesn't want to be part of, I don't think, but he certainly wants to lead the debate to turn it into, as he said, the immigration election. 03456060973. I wonder whether this is a candidacy that fills you with joy. You wanted to see Nigel Farage back leading the debate. You felt like he was letting you down, as he tried to put it, when he said he wasn't going to be standing, that he was letting millions of people down. How true is that? 03456060973. How much of an effect are Reform going to have, do you think? I wonder whether Nigel Farage had his mind changed slightly by two things. The verdict on Donald Trump, that he was now a convicted criminal, and perhaps the poll that came out towards the end of last week, I think on Friday night, which showed almost wipeout for the Conservatives, reduced to about 60 seats. The Lib Dems not far behind them as potential oppositions. And I just wonder whether Nigel Farage saw that and thought, opportunity. Why now?
I think FOMO, really, Tom. I think he said he'd been out campaigning for Reform as their honorary president, and he said that he'd been on the doorstep, particularly speaking to a lot of young people who asked him why he wasn't standing. And ultimately, he said he felt like he was letting those people down. So he said he went fishing and went for a walk with the dog yesterday and decided to stand. Now, the big reason why he'd ruled it out previously, and he was even clear on that last week, is because it wouldn't allow him to get out and about really around the country. He'd have to focus on that one constituency to show that he cared about that place. Bear in mind, this is his 8th time standing to become an MP. He'll be hoping it's 8th time lucky. Unsuccessfully, and it's almost as though he's pointed his finger around a map and picked an area and gone for it. So he would have really had to show he cared about that specific area. But becoming now leader of Reform UK, taking over from Richard Tice, he was clear that allows him to continue to do that, to campaign all around the country and go for it and speak to people all over. Now, he pitched it as the immigration election. He will be standing in Clacton, that seat in Essex, and there was recent polling done by the Reform Party. It was only 509 voters, but that poll suggested that if he were to stand in that area, he could win it, and he could win by 10 points. So he could get 37% of the vote. He most recently stood in the nearby South Thanet, and that was in 2015. He lost to Craig McKinley, the Tory MP. They got a big majority, but he did get 32% of the vote there. So it's not out of the question that it could indeed be 8th time lucky for Nigel Farage.
Hi there. I'm very happy that he's standing, just because I think that he's an excellent campaigner and he will do a good job at removing even more votes away from the Tories and cost them seats.
Well, I think this is the Tory nightmare writ large, actually, because the first part of the first week or so of this election campaign has seen Rishi Sunak campaign in the safest, apparently the safest of safe Tory seats, including today in Henley, and announce policies that seem to appeal to the Tory base: national service, pensioner tax rebate, and the rest of it. That's trying to shore up the true blue vote, isn't it?
It is, but I think the Tories are going to get absolutely punished, and I think a lot of them, I think there's a certain type of Tory voter who will now be attracted to Reform because Nigel's going to be having a more prominent role in it. The problem with Reform, which is similar to what UKIP had in the past, is people will associate them as being the low migration party, but they need to develop a comprehensive manifesto and policy platform beyond that. And generally projects that Nigel Farage has associated himself with have always struggled with that. becoming a more professional party, attracting more professional candidates who don't have, horrible past.
Oh, and they have some very colourful, should we put it like that, people who have been standing for them, who have been stood down because of the things, the absolute madness, racist nonsense